Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
So it happened again. Yes, we had protesters in the streets of New York and all over the globe protesting for the glory of the martyrs. They wanted a day of rage. The National Students for Justice in Palestine wanted a day of rage on the anniversary of the October 7 massacre, but they're not anti-Semites, guys. They're just pro-Palestine, right? That's what they're doing? They're not anti-Semites, they just happen to choose this day? No. They're anti-Semitic. Okay, let's not mince words here. If they wanted to talk about Palestine, it could have been on any of the days that they want to choose that have significant dates in the quote-unquote Palestinian calendar. But instead, they chose the one day where a bunch of people tried to slaughter Jews to protest. Very odd.
Number 6.
The betting markets are part of what appears to be a shift in the presidential race towards former President Donald Trump. I mean, if you watched this 60 Minutes interview yesterday, you might have seen the end of the Kamala Harris campaign. Betting markets, polls, and even current President Joe Biden connecting Harris to his policies so much as she may try to break away even more. All those things are showing that Kamala Harris's campaign has turned into a little bit of a disaster. Now, the media is trying to pump her up and promote her and make her not look like a clown. Are they going to be able to do that? I don't know. Harris continues to lead in the popular vote with a slim lead. Trump is gaining in Pennsylvania, showing that state either leading or tied. He's leading in most battleground states as well. There's clearly been a shift in momentum.
Number 5.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency continues to miss the point still after all this time. FEMA Administrator, Deanna Criswell dismissed claims that the agency is short on disaster relief funds due to money being diverted to aid illegal immigrants, calling it, quote, just plain false, end quote. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre stormed off when asked about it, said it was misinformation to even ask the question. Why are you asking that question? That question itself is misinformation. How dare you, sir? Did you see how she was dressed? It looked like she was wearing her dad's suit to work. She emphasized that disaster relief and immigration funding come from separate sources, and misinformation is hindering FEMA's efforts somehow. I can't do my job. You guys are saying I'm not doing my job in the wrong way or something. Evidence continues to mount that the agency's priorities are screwed up. That's where we're at.
Number 4.
The U.S. Supreme Court has declined to hear an appeal from an Alabama IVF clinic allowing a wrongful death lawsuit involving destroyed embryos to proceed. And, look, that appeal has happened, and it is important, and it is worth noting here that there should be penalties for what happened here. They did not secure the embryos the way they were supposed to, and a malcontent got in there and damaged these people's embryos. I mean, we can debate all the things that happened here, and I get the wrongful death lawsuit and all these other things that led to Alabama having to change their laws over this, but the case stems from the destruction of their embryos due to the reckless nonsense from the entity they sued. So I have no problem with this.
Number 3.
Auburn's anti-Semitism is being papered over by multiple media outlets after anti-Semitic graffiti, including the phrase "from the river to the sea," was found at Auburn University's Toomer's Corner on the 1-year anniversary, on the day before, let's put it that way. Yeah, let's make sure we get it right. On the day before the 1-year anniversary of Hamas's attack on Israel, those protests continued yesterday on the actual anniversary of the attack on Israel. So I had to get 2 days in there. That's how non-anti-Semitic they are. The university quickly removed the graffiti. Auburn police are continuing to investigate the incident. I don't know why. We saw exactly what happened. Katie Britt, United States Senator, said never again is now in response to the incident. And Auburn itself denounced this nonsense, saying, quote, not on our campus, thanking a bunch of different individuals who were involved. Look, I'm glad Auburn spoke out about it. I think that's good. That's very good.
Number 2.
Birmingham Police Chief Scott Thurmond is facing calls for his resignation, with activist and state representative Wandling Gavan citing a rise in homicides and low officer morale. I don't necessarily think he's the problem here. I'm not saying that there aren't problems there. There absolutely are. But the police need to be unleashed in Birmingham, and the prosecutorial arm of the justice system needs to be dropping the hammer on these individuals. Is Scott Thurmond the problem here? I don't think that's the case. Despite the criticism that's coming from some activists and Wandling Gavan, Mayor Randall Woodfin's office defended Thurmond, highlighted a decrease in overall violent and property crime, while acknowledging the need for a collective effort to address the city's homicide problem. Woodfin's not the best person to have on your side.
Now, time for the number 1 thing you'll be talking about today.
After the host of the Call Her Daddy podcast got roasted on social media for having Kamala Harris on her show, she lost a ton of listeners, and the podcast itself did not do very well. The Daddy Gang, good Lord, criticized the appearance, and it was very low on the list of podcast views or views for her podcast, and it was embarrassing. Let's just put it that way and be honest that it was somewhat embarrassing. But Kamala Harris, she persisted and decided her media tour should go on. It's like a Category 4 hurricane barreling towards her campaign, and Kamala Harris is behind it going blowing on it, trying to make it go faster. I don't know. Vice President Kamala Harris continued. She gave a lengthy interview to 60 Minutes, which they cut up again. And again, they cut this up. I want you to understand something. This 60 Minutes interview that they cut up, imagine how bad it was before they cut it up. Just remember how bad it was before they cut it up. Just think about that for a second. But anyway, in her interview with 60 Minutes, she gave an unclear response on the U.S. alliance with Israel, whether America has influence over Benjamin Netanyahu. She confounded the interview on the economy, tax rates, how Congress works. Observers notice her word salads don't disappear, even the friendliest of interviews that are pre-taped. I mean, this whole thing is a disaster. So she continues with her media tour, and none of it is going very well. But, believe it or not, there are people who are suggesting this is a good idea. One of the arguments they're making, which is actually really funny, is that, well, at least Kamala Harris did the interview with 60 Minutes. Like, Donald Trump is everywhere. Find a place he's not at this point. Okay, so that argument makes absolutely no sense, but that's the one they're trying to use. In fact, I like the Daily Beast headline here, and it's kind of funny because they talk about this like Kamala Harris has accomplished something. Okay? Here's the headline. Kamala Harris responds to Trump canceling 60 Minutes interview with advice. Here's my advice to Kamala Harris and her campaign. Shut up. I don't want her to win. Okay? That's the last thing I want. But if I'm running Kamala Harris's campaign, I say to her, shut up. Stop talking. Bill Whitaker was chosen because you thought he would be easy on you, and he destroyed you. He also got Tim Walz on the record to say, I'm just a knucklehead. Oh, golly, I'm sorry I lie so much and get everything wrong. I'm just a big old knucklehead. He. And that's where they are. So Bill Whitaker might have ended her campaign yesterday. Hopefully. That'd be great. But we'll continue covering this. We'll get some more clips for you as well throughout the program. Of course, you can weigh in right here. That's a very simple thing to do. Pick up the phone right now. 205. No, that's incorrect. 866-494-WVNN. 866-494-9866. Cut me some slack. Today, not only am I doing a 4-hour radio show here, I'm doing my hour-long radio show in Birmingham, and then I'm doing a 2-hour radio show in Chattanooga as well. So you can just cut me some slack. I'm a busy guy today with a bunch of numbers in my head, so bear with me here just a bit. We'll continue. You can jump in, like I said, scoutpestcontrol.com, WVNN, hot take text line, 866-494-WVNN. You can email me.
You've got mail.
Dale at WVNN.com. That's the downtownrescuemission.org email inbox. Stay tuned. We got a lot going on.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson 7 Things You Should Be Talking About Today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.